Hey there, welcome back. Now in this lecture, let us start our journey with concrete class-based view. But before that, let me fix some imports. So at this point of time, they are going out of way. So that means I want to just keep them in one visible viewpoint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import them in the form of tuple. Yeah, this looks fine. So now we have all our import visible. Let me do something similar here also. Much better. I hope this is working fine. Let me refresh this one. Yeah, no error. So that's how we are going to work. Now let's get back to our main topic, which is going to be concrete view classes. Here remember one important thing is we are going to import them from generic class itself. So this is a part of generic class itself. And the best thing you can do right now is just scroll up a bit and then just jump onto this generics.py and search about this generic API view which we used in the last lecture. And also if you scroll down a bit, you will see the different classes that we are going to use, that is create API view, list API view, retrieve API view. You will understand that they already have all these information. So when we are going to use retrieve API view now, they already have this get function. If I talk about this list API view, they already have this list function. If I talk about this create API view, they already have that. So when we are going to utilize this concrete view classes, we don't need to write this list or anything else. So at currently when we are using this mixins, we need to write them. But when we are going to use these concrete view classes, we don't need to import them because they already have them. So what we are going to do is we are going to utilize them to avoid this condition also. That means our task is reducing step by step. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mute them, which is comment them, and I'm going to perform the exact same step right now, and then we will modify them according to our new URLs. So currently I'm using the old URLs only, and here I am trying to understand what is this list and what is this detail is. So you will understand behind the scene how these are working. So if I jump here, we have these create API view, list API view, retrieve API view, destroy, update, and then we also have some mixed ones. So list create API view, that means this is going to give us a get request along with a post request. So if I talk about this retrieve and update, that means this is going to give us the information of that review along with the option to send put request. Then we have retrieve and destroy. That means it is going to give us the get request as well as the delete and keep on following. So these are the default methods that we get with concrete view classes. That's it. That's all the discussion that we need to do. Now let me get back here to view the live example. So all I have to do is just import this generic, which I have already done. Yep. Let me mute this one. That means comment this one, and I'm going to use this only. And this mixins I'm not going to utilize. You can access them later in code section itself. They are in comment form now. Now here I'm going to create a class and I'm going to call review list first. Remember, I'm not going to change anything according to this new URLs. They are in comment form. First, let me create the same thing that we did earlier. Let me repeat everything with these concrete classes. So instead of mixins, what I'm going to do is I'm going to import this generic list class. Yeah, this list create class. That means this is going to give me the power to send get as well as post request. Now inside this, I just need to define my query set as well as my serializer class. So my query set is going to be review object, and my serializer class is going to be this review serializer. That's it. Now we don't have to write anything. So if I jump here, this is our current URL pattern. Let me also create for this. Let me jump here, add some space. Going to create a class for review detail. And then I'm going to get options for generic itself. Here I need to use retrieve actually. So let me jump here on my documentation. and I should get this retrieve, update as well as destroy. This will give me options for get, put as well as delete. That's it. Now I just need to define my query set as well as my serializer class. And here I have defined them for URL pattern itself. So if I jump back, if I refresh my URL, you can see it's working fine. So now we don't have to write, we have to write only 2 lines of code actually to define this. Earlier we have to define everything in the form of get, put as well as delete. Then we try to reduce them in the form of these mixins. Now we have completely removed them. So if I jump back here and for once let me zoom into my GitHub. Here if you see we already have these methods that we already know. Because of them we are able to access everything. And if you see one thing, this createAPIView is importing the mixin class. That means we have this power itself. We have these power automatically in our classes because we are inheriting this mixins, and we also inheriting this GenericAPIView. If I click here, just jump onto my GenericAPIView. Now inside my GenericAPIView, you can see we are also importing our APIView. So that means I also have power of them. So behind the scene, I am also performing all these steps without knowing anything. So if we just scroll down a bit, you will see I have all the methods defined here. And that's how it's working. I hope you got the idea what we are trying to do. I really wanted to discuss these behind the scene because when I regularly read them, it helped me to understand this Django REST framework better. I hope you got the idea. This was the basic thing that we really wanted to do. Now there are a lot of other methods that we can perform inside this, since we need different methods to override everything. And that's where different type of methods come into picture. So for now, let me also test this list. Yeah, it's working fine. And make sure to add a slash here. Otherwise you will get 4 on 4 without them. Okay, this is fine. Yeah, that's done. Now we have replicated everything that we did in the previous lecture using mixins. Now this is our concrete class-based view, that is our concrete view classes, and we have all these methods. Now in the next lecture, what I am going to do is I'm going to perform everything that we discussed in our new URLs. Currently we were trying to do everything to get complete list, but it doesn't make sense to us to get all the URLs, right? So that's what we are going to do in the next lecture. And before wrapping up this particular lecture, let me test all the tasks with these new views. So let me try to add a new review here. Let me call this review as, let me send a post request. It's done. Let me refresh this one. So now we have these 3 review. Let me try to access the third one. Send update request. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this as updated. Also, let me remove these fields. And if I send a put request, it's working fine. My review is updated. This looks fine. Let me try to delete this one. Okay, it's working fine. We got HTTP 204 status, and if I jump back to my review, you can see now we have only these 2 review. So that means everything is working fine without any error. That's all for this lecture. In the next one, let us try to set up our new URL and let us try to write these review according to them. I hope this lecture was helpful. Thank you for following, and I see you guys in the next one.